Welcome to the Town Board Workshop meeting Thursday, December 1st. Please rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Emergency exits are to my right, where the screen is currently, and also the door you came in. Roll, please.
Councilman Delango?
Here.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Here.
Councilwoman Doyle? Here. Supervisor Perotti?
Here.
And let the record note that Councilwoman Hinsenberger will be absent this evening.
Okay, the first item we have on the agenda is the planning board interview with Tony Robustelli. So if you'd like to come up to the microphone and tell us how long you've been on the planning board and why you want to continue.
Just saying that.
It's been a long
19
time.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, scary.
And before that, you were on comprehensive plan, I believe, with
7 years, yeah.
7 years before that.
Every Monday we met.
Yeah.
My wife thought I was cheating on her for a while. A couple of meetings, she goes, oh, okay, see you later. And then a wastewater too for a while.
Wastewater too.
Yeah, so we started 3 years, 4 years on that.
It's fabulous.
Yeah. Thank you. That's the olive oil.
Yeah, I always liked Tony's references to, well, he said, this is kind of like a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. And somebody comes in and wants mustard. And you think you know what it is. I can't remember, but you had all these food analogies. We'd get into something, and he'd have
Growing up
something.
with an Italian family, that's what happens.
Yeah, everything was about food, really. We could
Everything's
turn
around food.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Are you up to snuff on your credits? Do you have?
Yeah, I did that.
No, good, good.
I think I did the credits. I don't know if people have to do it online too now. There's some online courses that people have to catch up on our board.
I think
yeah,
Well,
there's
yeah, there
quite a
are.
few of them on.
There is,
on
yeah.
There are, so,
They might have to
so that way you're
When's
aware.
the due date for everybody else?
December 31st, so Mr. Clare still needs all 4 of his credits. Matt Deister needs 1, Eric McEnroe needs 2.5, and John Stephanopoulos needs 3.5.
Wow.
So,
And we can send you the website where the online courses are, if
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
easier
good
for them.
idea. Yeah, I think you have my email, right?
yeah, we just got to check it.
Okay.
But Tony's up to snuff.
Okay, I think that's all we need from you.
Oh, weren't we going to ask him if he would be willing to chair?
No,
We're not going to
no,
ask.
not right now.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
Probably the co-chair or something, maybe.
yeah,
okay.
okay.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Thank you, guys.
It's a lot of years.
That's it?
Yeah.
A
See?
lot of years.
Told you, in and out.
Yeah.
Get you a T-shirt or something. Maybe next year we'll have our act
Next
together.
door was here 77.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, you started out with George Fenn, I think.
Yeah.
That goes way back.
And we had Ted Fink. Yeah, we had a lot of different, how many supervisors? I don't know, 5, 6 supervisors maybe through that course, at least.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a long time.
Yeah. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, capital improvement project presentation. Weavertuck Superintendent Ray Castellini.
Thank you for having me this evening. Ms. Perotti and the board, thank you. I'm here tonight to discuss the Weavertuck Central School District capital project, and I have a presentation. I'm going to run through some of the slides very quickly. We've tried to have this public relations campaign so that everyone could understand it's more of a needs-based project than there is a wants-based project, and I hope that's something that comes across clearly. But the way
Should we turn the light off on this side, do you
Right
think?
That's up
behind
to-
you.
So every 5 years, school districts in New York State by law, by New York State Ed law, have to have a building condition survey completed. And that was done in the winter of 2005. 2015, early 2016, and a report was given to the Board of Education in regards to what an independent engineer/architect felt was the necessities and the priorities that were needed through the school district or for the school district, and it was broken into a number of priorities. So that's a little bit about the process. It was given to the Facilities Committee of the board and also to the Board of Education and Administration and public as a whole. But it's really based upon three priorities. Priority one, which must be done, needs to be done immediately, health and safety concerns. Priority two, that really should be done within the next 2 to 3 years because they will become health and safety concerns. And priority three, which eventually you're going to have to start looking 5 to 10 years down the road. We're going to concentrate really on priorities 1 and 2, as you'll see in the slide right here, which we consider health and safety needs and really conditions of the buildings and of the district that have to be addressed immediately. What are those? There's a replacement of the middle school and intermediate school and high school septic field. Currently, right now, we have a septic field that is out in the current baseball field that hasn't been used for many years as a baseball field because there's been some wastewater at one point, I think 4 or 5 years ago, that has come up through the field. That is a result of the septic system beginning to fail. It has not failed completely. We still use it each day, but there has been parts of it that are failing, and to address it, one of the things we're looking at is that in the past, and I know this is a hot topic right now in regards to the building project, in 2002 there was a new septic system put in, the existing one that I'm speaking about. For whatever reasons, there were decisions made to change some of the scope of the planning of that septic system, and the fill used for that septic system really wasn't appropriate. After years, it's compacted, and the permeability of that has really led to this issue where the septic system is in a bed of fill that is not permeating and not leaching correctly, and that's a major problem for us. We can't take it out and put another one in the same place because then we would be without a septic system for quite some time. The idea is to replace it and put it in a new place and use this current one until the other one is online. We have a replacement of an intermediate school and high school boiler system. For a number of reasons right now, we are addressing that. One is, it is the original boiler that is original to the building. So it's over 45 to 50 years old. It is really being held together by Band-Aids. Our maintenance and custodial staff are working every day to try to make sure that it's running correctly. It is an old system. The parts are antiquated. You can't buy them anymore. Just yesterday, and this is not staged, this is a true story, the circulation pump was being looked at. It's about to fail. It's a $5,000 to $6,000 item that we have to go and replace. So on every day when you're having, or every year you're having items like that continue to fail, it becomes difficult. And so the idea is, what do we need to do to make sure that we have heat in that building? Failure of heat in that building would have to mean in the heating season, closure of the building. Something we don't want. We'd have to bring in temporary heat, which is very expensive. Also, the efficiencies of the current boiler are operating, because they're so old, at 50 to 60% efficiency. A new boiler, which would be much smaller, state-of-the-art, would be 85 to 90%, saving us about $25,000 per year in fuel costs. We have a bus garage roof that right now is leaking. It's been replaced a number of times and repaired a number of times. And as you know, if you know about roofs, the more you replace, the further it gets away from the original state, and it's more difficult to find the holes and the leaks and the repairs. So this right now has a leak, a number of leaks, and they are actually above some electrical panels, so again, health and safety. So we're looking to replace parts of the roof completely. District-wide, we're looking at upgrades to the technology system and the security system. I'll stick really quickly with both of these. The technology system, first of all, as we're moving forward with the number of initiatives in literacy and other academic and instructional and curriculum initiatives, we are, in 2017, need the infrastructure in order to change the way that our teachers teach and our students learn. As we all know, students nowadays are learning through computers and technology and iPhones and tablets much more than they have in the past. Currently, right now, our infrastructure cannot support 2 classrooms in the same wing on the internet. We have a number of laptops and tablets and carts that we take around. If 2 classrooms are on the internet at the same time working on instruction, they're getting bumped off because the infrastructure is not there. As we move forward and hold teachers accountable and students accountable to learn more with technology initiatives, we cannot purchase any more types of computers or one-to-one initiatives. One-to-one meaning every student in the school will have a Chromebook, a laptop, or some type of device. We cannot do that unless we have the infrastructure. I say that the one-to-one initiative is a plan for us because 2 years ago, the federal government allowed us, and through voter across the country, especially New York State, through voter approval, was something called the Smart Bonds School Act, the Smart Schools Bond Act, I'm sorry. And what that has done is that has afforded a placeholder of about $505,000 in funds for technology for the Weebatuck Central School District. Our plan is to use that to bring in the initiative of one-to-one for each student so that each student will have that device and truly change the way we teach and instruct. We cannot utilize that money to purchase those types of devices if we don't have the infrastructure that sets that up. Security system, right now there are about 12 cameras that are antiquated at the high school and the intermediate school. They're black and white, they're old, they're not motion detected. They really have little range in motion. They have very little recording time, so if you don't find out something right away, you can't go back very far and investigate through a web device. What we're looking to do is triple the amount of cameras in the district, make them state-of-the-art, so that they are motion detected if no one's around and at night something happens, that they are night vision and motion detected, that they would directly link into local authorities so that if the police are attending to a scene, they actually have real time of what's going on in the school so they can see, and the recording time to go and investigate is much longer. In my 2 years here, we've had about 4 incidents that I believe if we had better camera system and better technology, we would be able to figure out what happened quickly and hold those accountable much more quickly than we've done in the past. The local authorities are all on board with this, and they feel that it's something important also. The other part of the security system that we're looking at are the access control doors. We want to make sure we're a secure facility. We want to make sure that we use our passes and our badges to get into, where it logs in who's coming in what door and who's exiting at one time. Right now we have a number of doors with old technologies that are breaking. It's about $3,000 to $4,000 a door. We have about 4 right now that are broken that we need parts for. We're holding off on that because in this project we're looking to address all of the outside exit doors with this technology. And lastly, with security system, one of the things that we're looking at is visitor entry access points where there would be scanners and readers of licenses to make sure that whoever's visiting our school before they get into the first door holds up their license. It registers them to make sure that they are safe, that they belong near the school district for whatever reason it may be, custodial issues, or just to make sure that they're not a danger to the school. Some of the priority 2s that we've talked about is we believe health and safety also. Sorry, my back's still. We have all of our exterior paving and sidewalks. If you've taken a walk through the school district, you'll see many, many potholes that are irreparable. They really need to be completely scraped down with new base and drainage put in. It really is a safety issue for even if you're walking. The sidewalks are heaved, not only in the winter, but throughout the year. We have a number of sidewalks where there's a yellow line going where the sidewalk block meets each other, just as a trip hazard. I've had 2 students fall and actually hurt themselves, not running. They were walking, and just because they're so uneven. They need to be addressed. They are a safety hazard for our students and our faculty and our community. We have a number of vile asbestos tile floors, the old tile floors that if it's encapsulated and not broken, they're completely safe. But we have a number of areas of floors that have cracks or are broken. We actually have to abate those, not full classrooms, but maybe 2 or 3 tiles in certain classrooms. They're completely safe, but in order to replace them, we have to abate and put new ones down. This is just selected floors, not all the floors. One of the things we've talked about, which I know here in Amenia you have done, is looking at an emergency generator. We are For our own sake, in regards to if there is a power outage, instead of closing school because there's no heat, no water, electricity, we would be able to actually host the school day in EBIS or intermediate school and our high school. So we're looking for a generator that is large enough to do that. Also, we are recognized by the Red Cross as a shelter in case there's an emergency in the county. Right now, that's only because of our size, but if there was a power outage, somewhat very similar to what you guys are doing, there would be no electricity, no water, no heat. This would allow us to host that site. We are looking for work with the county and with the federal government and the Red Cross to help subsidize that, but everything that we hear is you need to do it first, and then we'll talk about how you're going to get that money after. When the district consolidated, we moved our students, intermediate school students, at the intermediate school. Right now, there is no playground for them. So there are some balls and jump ropes and things like that, but we're looking to put for our 4th through 8th graders a developmentally appropriate playground so that they can have their outside recess and outside activities. We're looking to replace the auditorium air handling unit with cooling. Currently, right now, it's an old system that is broken. There's minimal cooling in there, and the fresh air exchange needs to be worked on. Again, parts that cannot be purchased. You cannot fix this. This is something that you would have to replace with a new one. Same thing for the gymnasium. If you look in the high school gymnasium, when you walk in, there are 2 monstrosities that are old air handlers that are original to the building. They are parts broken. In fact, one of them is not working at all. One of them is leaking right in center of one of the lanes of the basketball wood floor court. And again, we need to have fresh air in there that is an exchange at the high school, and that needs 2 new air handlers, or at least 1 to replace the 2 broken ones. We're looking at an auditorium sound system in our auditorium. It's an audio-visual system. Currently, right now, we have, if we wanted to have a visual display, we have to roll in a card with a laptop and a projector. That's not appropriate in 2017 for a school, especially with the system that we have in regards to our wonderful arts programs, musicals, and our band and chorus. So with that comes a sound system that we want to make appropriate for our students and for our programs. Priority 2 at the elementary school, those were both EBIS and high school. Pretty much the same thing, sidewalks, paving and sidewalks, the same conditions. If you go through it, it's really needs to be addressed immediately. Water system upgrades. Over the last 2 summers, we've been lucky that it's happened in summer, but we've had 2 water main breaks that we've had to expend a large amount of our funds in order to fix. This would address those as part of the well system and part of the piping system. I'm going to skip through these, but again, these are the technology upgrades, networking and wiring to expand the system. I talked a little bit about the security, converting the system to voice over IP, upgrade the system that it's longer memory, provide a visitor management system. There's a picture of the boiler, which is over 40 years old. Boilers are supposed to last between 30 and 35 years at best. We're into our 50s pretty much, and you can see that it's old. We showed that it's about a $25,000 cost per savings with the new boiler just on fuel cost. Again, the septic system, the existing field is not in use for our baseball field because there is wastewater that has come to the surface. Currently right there, we've looked and we've done a number of testing throughout the district, and the issue is that the ground is not permeable, it's rocky. So we would have to put in a system that would allow for proper leaching and proper display of the water. The bus garage roof, there's some of the tiling that I'm talking about, so instead of doing the whole classroom, we might just do those 4 tiles. Some of the blacktop areas that we're talking about. Some of the sidewalks. The playground area. And again, those are just pictures, what we actually designed. At the elementary school, some of the paving and sidewalks. And we talked about the water system, which would be a new well, a new storage tank, and replace some of the pumps. Now we get to some of the costs, which I know is important. And the question that I keep getting is why now, why now, why now? And the answer is, number one, because it's needed. We are afraid that if we go through another 1 or 2 heating seasons, we're going to run into difficulties. Every year that you wait is going to be more expensive. Obviously, as we know, costs go up. And right now, actually, State Ed is at a place where if we were to put a project up, we have a good time frame to do it. But some of these numbers are large, and I'll explain them. The septic field, $790,000. The boiler, the middle school and high school, or intermediate school and high school, $544,000. The bus garage roof replacement, $88,000, and these are just estimates. The technology system, $593,000. Security systems, $539,000. And the subtotal of what would be priority 1 would be $2.5 million. We've had a lot of questions regarding incidental and contingency budgets and that the numbers are high. Let me just explain what those mean. Those are everything from the pre-referendum mailings, public relations, the architect cost, the construction manager cost, which we would have a construction manager to manage the process, the progress and the process of the entire capital project, to contingency, to cost regarding if we had overtime for our custodians and maintenance that had to work overtime for cleaning. That's built into there, along with some of the contingency costs for, for errors and omissions, or if there's something that we don't see that comes up in the process. So State Ed says between 20 and 22% for elementary school contingency and incidental, and 22 and 25 for secondary, middle school, and high school. So it's right in line with the State Ed guidelines. Total project cost for the priority 1, $3.3 million. Priority 2, again, paving, 1.6, playground, $150,000. The flooring that I spoke about, $55,000. The emergency generator, $341,000. The air handling units you can see there. The sound system, $165,000. A subtotal of 2.7. The elementary school, $764,000 for the paving and sidewalks, and the water reconstruction, $379,000. When you add them all up, you'll see the subtotals and the totals. Priority 2 is expensive because paving and blacktopping and concrete is very expensive. If you took both priorities together, you're looking at $8.5 million for priority 1, priority 2. The board had considered a priority 3, which is about $3 million, which would have changed the heating system at the elementary school, which is an electric heating system. Very expensive, very inefficient to change it over to a hot water system and some cooling. But the board felt at this time that was not something that the community could accept as a need right now. Something maybe in the future we can look at. What one of the other reasons, other than the need for the timing, is our debt service. So in 2002, there was a large project that was approved and came on the books. That is about to come off the books. It was restructured at one point for the interest. It is about to come off the books in 2021-22. This project, much less than that one we spoke about in 2002, is coming on the books. Really, the beginning of it in 2019-20 of about $155,000. Just as the other one is starting to come off and get lower, this one starts to move on to the books. And as you can see, 2016-17 to 2002 bond is $1.6 million. That goes down to 1.4, 1.3, 1.3. In 2020, it's 1.1, just as this one's really coming on board at $575,000. And these are the yearly payments. In 2021 is real. It starts to fall off, 1.1 million and then to 0, just as this one comes on board, which would be $725,000 for the next 13, 14 years. So the timing, other than that 1.5 year or 2 year overlap, which still is not is where we are right now, it is a much less debt that we incur that would have effect on the taxpayer as it goes forward. And that's something that we wanted to highlight. The project is aided by the state and their building aid of 59.4%. So of the $8.5 million, and obviously when you borrow and then you have interest on that, but of the original $8.5 million, just over $5 million is reimbursed by the state over the life of the bond. So it's time to take advantage of the almost 60% funding by the state. And then what will it cost a taxpayer? And we use these figures just as norms, and we do budgets, and they're just to help people figure out their own calculation. But it's 0.306 cents per thousand, so just under 31 cents per $1,000 of full value. So what does that mean if you have a $100,000 home? And we know that that may be too low, but you can figure out based on those numbers. With STAR, the annual cost would be $21.41 to the taxpayer per year. Monthly, about $1.78. The estimated impact on a home valued at $200,000 is double, so it would be $42.82 per year, or a monthly cost of $3.57. I'm not so sure that that's correct. It might be. So when you look at that, you can fill that into whatever formula you want, but the formula is 0.306 per thousand. We're ready to go, if we get a positive vote, to the state in January to submit plans and to start reconstruction on the septic field in the fall of 2017, and have the work mostly done in the spring, summer, and fall of 2018, and finish sometime in early 2019. Please come out and vote. The vote is Wednesday, December 14th, 2016, from 12 o'clock noon until 9 o'clock at the gymnasium. And again, it's important for people to come out and vote and speak their mind. And if it passes, great. If not, then we could understand that, maybe that scope has to be brought back a little bit or put off for a little while, because we understand that times are difficult for people. Our idea of the debt and what it will have as an effect on people's taxes, we believe is going to be in our favor because of that debt fall off of the old debt in 2002. I tried to hurry up. Any questions? I thank you for your time.
You said every 5 years the state makes you do one of these audits and you find out what's going on. Before you did this one, when was 2010 the last one?
It should have been done in 2010. So there was an audit, a condition survey done in 2010. Am I okay here? Am I okay here? Okay. So there was one done in 2010. 2005, or give or take a year. I'm not sure which. It might have been 2005, 2006, 2010, 2011. But yes,
okay.
There was.
I mean, did it bring up a lot of these same issues?
It brought up a lot of them as priority 2s and 3s, and because of the financial climate, because the board at that time felt that they wanted to make sure that we got through the 2002 project that was still on the books, it was important, but not something that they acted on. It wasn't put in budgets, it wasn't put as a capital project, and that's what we're seeing now. Is just like a homeowner, when you don't take care of things because of cost or whatever, and you don't address them, it tends to be more expensive as it gets longer out.
So basically, this is an ongoing issue. It's just not something that happened, and kind of the more you wait on it, the more it's going to cost you.
That's correct.
That's kind of okay.
That's correct. The original septic system price that we had when it was looked at 3-4 years ago was in about $575,000 in that area. So as you can see, this system's a little different, but it is, it does escalate, cost escalate.
Now, is there any fallback on the old septic system?
In regards
with
to
the contractors and stuff like that, with the other fill?
The board had looked at, or has looked at, speaking with the attorneys, and the attorneys have advised us that we could look to find liability from the old, either the architects, engineers, the people who put it in, the contractors. What we're finding out is that it was so long ago that to go and try to recover those costs, the litigation of them would be just as expensive, if not more expensive, than finding out those costs. And to tell you the truth, the state protects and laws protect architects and engineers. You'd have to go after the company, and then they may say, who said yes to this, who said no to that. So we've considered it, we still would, but we've been advised by our attorneys that the cost of litigation would be far more expensive than what we recoup.
Is it just not possible to take out that old fill and use the existing over summer, since you're not up and running over the summer?
We've been told that is not possible by our engineers.
Simply not possible
It's
to
not
replace
possible.
that fill?
Mm-hmm. Because by the time you take the fill out, you're going to damage pipes, you're going to change grades. This new system would have a chlorination system at the end, because the ground is so impermeable that the final part of this whole process would have to be a chlorination with a small retention pond area, not a pond, an area, so that that water would be fresh water at the end. But the old system, and it's been a hot topic that I dealt with, and unfortunately the history of it 10, 12, 15 years ago was difficult to find who said what, who approved what. I believe there were corners cut, so to save on cost, and the inappropriate fill was used, and not the, and that's caused us where we are right now, and that's what we're dealing with.
So is there any insurance that you can give to the taxpayers that, is there any performance bond or the equivalent, something to say, you know, this is not going to be another boondoggle?
Good question. One of the things that we've talked about with our engineers is when we do go out to bid for the project in regards to the septic, is having a warranty put on it by the contractor and by the bonding agency, so that would allow us to recoup. I believe the oversight for this project is going to be fairly more significant than it may have been in the past. I think that I'm sure that the people that we talked to have had substantial success in bringing in projects on time, under budget, with minimal issues, if any. But we have asked about putting it with the bid process, the hope of a warranty, an extended warranty.
Do you have a sense of the cost of the financing? Or is it not known until you put that bond out for?
Sorry. What it cost over the 15 years?
Yeah.
I don't have that exact number. I can find it for you and get that to you, but I would be guessing at it off the top of my head, so I can find that out.
You have an interest rate that to generate those numbers, you've got a sense of what the interest...
Yes, yeah, we have a whole schedule of what we've been told the borrowing would be over the 15-year period. I just don't have that with me right now.
But just to clarify, the $8.5 million, the total project budget, and that's the bond that you would request, then you have to pay interest on top of that, correct?
That's correct.
And then the 60% state aid is applied, it's 60% of the total project amount, not the financed amount.
Total project amount, that's correct.
But not the total financed amount, right?
The total project amount.
Got it.
So, yeah, that's correct. Keep bouncing back and forth.
I know. Do you want to go to the podium, maybe?
No, if I can move this.
Sure. Well. So do you want to maybe just explain how that process works a little bit? Like if people go out and vote on December 14th and it's approved, then you guys would go out, you would hire someone to take that bond out for you and...
So what the process is, if it gets approval, we send up the plans to the state, and that's the design plans. We would hire fully the engineer and the architect. We would hire a construction manager. We would then go out for bid for bond for the loan. It would probably be a short-term bond, and then go for a longer bond after. I believe it's a year once everything starts to settle in. That's why the prices you saw there and the cost would be, I believe it was $155,000 the first year, and then $575,000. So it's short-term borrowing first, and then going out for long-term borrowing. But it is a bid process where we would look for the lowest possible interest rate. I know the supervisor has shared with me some information. We would bring that into effect also. I know that you guys have done something and had some really positive feedback in regards to...
I gave him the information for capital market advisors, who assisted us going out to bid so that you could get the lowest rate.
And we have bond counsel, and we'll compare that with what they're doing compared to what you have done here, and we'll get the best rate. As a school district and a municipality, we have a really good rating, as you know, so interest rates are extremely low in regards to borrowing for big, large municipalities. So we'd be doing all right with the bond rate.
They are creeping up, though.
I do know that.
Somebody who's shopping for a mortgage and realizing that is pretty painful. So
I actually listened to the news today, I heard that, but I think for municipalities, we're actually still in good shape. We have a high bond rating. Okay?
You want to just let everybody know it's December 14th at the high school gym?
Yes, December 14th from 12 o'clock noon till 9 o'clock at night at the gym. It's a Wednesday. We have our website, www.weebatuckschools.org, where people can go for information. They're always welcome to make an appointment with me or call me, and I'll meet them anywhere, 845-373-4100. And again, any information that we can get, positive, negative, comments, thoughts, would help us in decision-making for the future. So we appreciate that and open that up.
Oh, one other question is if it's voted down, what's the process? Because you said they're health and safety issues, so you are required to fix some of these things, right?
Yes, but if it's voted down, we would have to look at either changing the scope and looking at some of those issues, or, God forbid, there's an emergency where it does break down, it would have to come out of the actual operating budget, which then has a major impact on taxpayers because it would go into the budget, and then you won't get the capital aid that you get, the state aid you get. So we're in a tough spot here because we do know that times are tough. We're hoping that, again, that idea of the fall off of the debt that we have currently right now I believe it's about 47 or 48 cents per $1,000 for the current debt that we have. That's going to go up about 12 cents, but then drop down to 37 cents per $1,000 for the remainder. So the taxes will have a little blip in them for about a year and a half, but then fall in regards to debt. And I'm just talking about debt in the taxes, not overall taxes. I understand the issues with taxes. So we think that this is the right time for that because of that fall off.
Actually, that's a really interesting point. So if you have an emergency repair that you say one of the boilers breaks, you can't then apply for state.
No. You'd have to go for emergency approval to get them fixed, and you would have to take it out of you'd have to either borrow or take it out of your operating budget.
And temporary heat is very expensive.
Temporary heat is extremely
Because that's
expensive.
what, we were up against here.
Yeah. And I invite anyone in the next 2 weeks, if they're interested, to come take a walk of the campus. We'll take you down to the boiler room. We'll take you through the areas that I spoke about. And I cannot preface, and I know $8.5 million is not a drop in the bucket, but these are needs. And if we're looking at holding teachers and students and administration accountable with the way that we're looking at instruction and academic progress, which is our goal, we have to be able to function in a facility that's safe. Okay?
I think it kind of floors me that the paving and the sidewalks are such a big ticket item. I mean, what I saw wasn't high drama for us. We have like 11 miles of town roads to pave, and our highway guys do a great job, and they do everything for well under $1 million. It seems like it didn't look all that dramatic. Maybe are you going to do some tours of the facility? You have to make an appointment.
We have. You're welcome to, and I would think that, I think you said 11 miles of...
I think it's 11 miles of town roads, don't quote me, but...
I think if you had to do 11 miles of town roads and of sidewalks, it would be much more than $1 million.
Well, we do really well. I mean, it's just the way it is. They do a great job.
And that's great, and I see them, so I'm just not sure how it's apples to apples. If
I'll
you're
have to
saying-
go stand down there and say, my goodness, how come it's so expensive to
Right.
fix the schools' roads and sidewalks, which are, a small percentage compared to what we have as a town.
But I'm not sure you're doing 11 miles worth of...
We maintain it.
Maintain. And maintaining is
yeah.
very different. We're looking to...
Are you going to repave?
You're going to
You're
strip
going
it...
to redo the whole
Strip
thing.
it down,
Yeah,
put
we
new
have to do
base.
the whole
Yeah.
thing.
You have
Strip
to take it all the way down.
It has to be, because the drainage, and that's why it's heaved and it's caving in, and there's potholes, because it has to be stripped down, new base put down,
Oh, I thought you were
and then
just
new
fixing
drainage. No,
potholes and a couple of sidewalks
That would be
need to
much
be
easier.
some
No, I knew that.
shaving down and...
No, it's complete, every area in the district of sidewalk and paving would be completed, completely redone. Bus garage has some areas that would have to be also addressed also.
All right, that makes more sense.
Okay? Yes.
Arlene, could you go up to the microphone, please? Because somebody else may have the same question you do.
I'm sorry, anyway.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Arlene Giuliano, a resident of the town of Amenia. The baseball field is very much downhill from the building. Isn't it going to be a problem ultimately for water to try to again be a problem there? I mean, I don't know why they located it there. I remember when they built it, though.
Yeah. I don't claim to be an expert in septic fields,
No,
although
I know, me
although I
neither.
know more than I probably wanted to ever in my life. I would think the lower it is, the better, because there's better runoff. So the lower the field, and this would be looking into the softball field and then off into a retention pond at the bottom. I think the lower or the greater the pitch, the lower, the better it would be for the leaching. But
Right, but
Yeah.
I don't know, apparently it isn't.
Well-
Well, so to speak.
Well, it isn't because of the fill that was used to backfill in regards to, if you know a leach field and a septic system, there's different junctures and junction boxes and pipes that are perforated that it's supposed to, as the water's making its way through the rock and dirt, start to cleanse itself. What's happening is the ground is so compacted with the silt that they used that it's not draining and not...
60 years later.
This was of 2002, which is even worse because they replaced it in 2002. They just didn't do it correctly.
Okay, well, I'm asking a question, I really don't understand all the, ins and outs of, but I mean, it just seems like it might be an issue somehow, but thank you.
Does anyone else have any other questions? No? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Is there any public comment? Supervisors report? Wait,
Want to do historian?
do you want to do,
Or
or do you want to do yours first?
No, go ahead. Oh, I better, I guess.
Yeah, you can go ahead. We can do the historian now.
Huh?
We can do historian now. Go ahead.
As long as I'm here, right?
Sure.
Well, now I'll speak as historian, and it's been a busy time at Dutchess County Historical Society, that's for sure. They have all kinds of events planned, which I can't get to all of them. There's no two ways, but I do the best I can. And next year, the emphasis is continuing to be on, well, I guess it's more becoming the topic of the year, prohibition and temperance. That's the time in the second decade when all that went on. Well, of course, it goes on all the time, really, but it really was in play in that particular time. So I don't know if I can get anything going here at the town in regards to those two issues. I have talked to them down at, in one place, and then but that's major topic. That and World War I. 1917 is when we entered into the World War I. We lost a lot of people in that, the hard way to say the least, so they would say. They certainly couldn't save them like they do now. But, so that's the themes. I don't know if the town has any desire to have anything special. And you got enough on your hands, I know, so.
Do anything special for a particular date? I'm not sure what you're asking.
If there's any event that you would like to use those themes on,
Okay.
meaning prohibition and temperance, and World War I don't know. I mean, I'm asking, I'm putting this out broadly to you, and it's not, I just want you to know that I will be using those themes here and there when I do write for the Millerton News or whatever, which I am still doing about once a month. Thank you. I enjoy writing that little thing.
Do we have a World War I memorial?
Mm-hmm.
Fountain Square is also World in addition
They're
to
on
World War
the,
II.
Yes.
I'm sorry, they're listed on the, up in
Fountain
the front of the
Square.
bank. Is that what you're saying? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I thought Fountain Square was World War II only, but
Yeah, but World War I was, I mean, we've had, right, wrong, or indifferent, we've had a lot of significant wartime events in this country since its beginning, and that was a very significant one, too. They all are, but anyway. But there might be something you want to do, something, it is a theme you could use in something, you know, and I'd be glad to help you out. Anyway. Secondly, we are going to get, and you know that, Victoria knows that we are going to get the historic marker for the Nook, which is an area down in South Amenia that's related to the Indian collections, the geologic, am I saying the right words right?
Yes.
Collections of Indian heads and all kinds of artifacts that Ken Holdley, a longtime member of the town, discovered and now is being shown at the New York Museum up in Albany. And I think it's going to stay there, but I'm not sure. But it's a very valuable collection. And I do want to say thank you especially to a lady over in Washington, Connecticut, and who is, I think, a geologist, am I saying, I'm not saying the right word. Anyway, she wrote material that I used, was very effectively used to get the marker for the South Amenia area. Her name is Lucianne Lavin, and tells all about artifacts and what Ken Holdley collected over the years that he did this. He was, let's see, he was in one of the locations that Ken documented is Turtle Pond, the Nook, and about 4 or 5 others. I won't recite them now, but he did a great job, and the town is really, being honored by him. If I'm saying the right word, honored by his materials being in the museum in Albany, I think. So that's why I felt that we needed to mark it. So in case somebody came down from another place and wanted to find a spot that represented his work, they could do so, which they are going to do down at the South Amenia Church area. Anyway, but
You have the spot for it?
that will have to work out finally. It's going to be on the South Amenia Church property, according to Bob Mead.
Okay.
He's offering that because the Nook is in back of this particular area of archaeological find is in back of the church. But it all comes down to the highway, the Dutchess County Highway Department, because it's a county road.
It's a count.
And,
yeah.
and of course, Stan works with the county and we'll put it up when they decide. To say nothing to Dave Reagan, who has done a lot of work in this area too, as far as helping me get some information. That was acceptable to the Pomeroy Foundation to give us the grant, which is only $1,000. And I think I've said this before, haven't I?
Yes.
Yeah, well, you don't need. But we did get it anyway. Now I have something else in particular that I would like to say. I don't watch your meetings all the time, so I'm not up on everything. And I don't get here all the time because the weather does me in, I have to admit that, unfortunately. But you have an issue that is going on here about the Roy Steiner property down on the South Amenia Road, which is being looked at to be mined. I think that's what it is. Anyway, in all this material that came down from Washington, from Lucian Lavin, who is from Washington, Connecticut, it includes that particular spot as a spot where some of these artifacts were found. Let me see, she wrote about 38 pages worth of material, so I have to go through them a little bit here. And that spot is called the Job spot on the J-O-B-E because it was apparently the Job farm at one time. I'm not sure if it's the Job farm right now. I don't know how much property he has left, but it's not exactly not historic as a major thought in this whole process of working on coming up with a decision in regard to that property. Anyway, as a result of this material sent by Lucian Lavin, which we can give you a copy of, it's very explanatory, and I can't even read it myself because it's in technological language, so to speak. But on the other hand, it does speak of that as a archaeological site area that Ken Hoadley, in his work with finding these Indian heads and artifacts, as an example, was involved in. The history of artifacts like this goes back thousands and thousands of years. We're not talking about, 50 years ago, 20 years ago, 100 years ago. We're talking thousands of years. So I am encouraging you, Town Board of Amenia, to challenge the negative declaration of the Kent Hollow mining application that you have. Now, I'm not thoroughly familiar with that. I need to do more homework myself on that. But this is a serious archaeological resource. There are serious archaeological resources on the property yet, as far as we can tell, that date back, like I said, thousands of years. I think you really need to take a second, third, fourth, fifth look at that project and keep in mind that there is history there from what we can tell at this point in time, based basically on some of the findings that are reported in the Ken Hoadley's report by Lucian Lavin of Washington, Connecticut. Okay? Now, apparently, the report was prepared for the New York Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, and the New York State Museum. So I don't know how involved the Parks Department is with this effort that's going on by these Ray Steiner property people. But it certainly has some significance, I would think. So I would think twice before you just act, what you're maybe, ready to do or ready not to do. But take a bit of time on this and think about just how much more digging do you want to go on there? Because there has been some, apparently. I think that's okay. Here's a little statement from Dave Reagan did some research. He's got great pictures. I've got pictures here that he took from the areas that Ken Hoadley did his diggings at, and it does include a turtle pond. Turtle pond, yes. So I can copy some more, whatever you'd like. Maybe I'll give a copy to Victoria and let her decide what she wants to copy of. I can do that if you want.
Yeah. Did you want to look at it?
Yeah, I think we should all get a copy. Maybe Dawn Marie could make a copy and distribute it out.
I just need the one and I'll email it out to everybody.
What do you want me to do?
Just one copy.
You could,
Okay,
you could borrow it.
If I can borrow
what I
it.
think is significant, and then you can sort it out, so to speak. But Joe property is absolutely mentioned directly in this material from Lucienne Lavin.
Yeah, you
Okay.
could scan it before you leave.
And then there is a little bit more with pictures that David Reagan took, to my understanding.
Yep.
Okay.
But, like I said, this project apparently probably was going on when I was on the board. I don't remember it. But that doesn't mean much.
Their
at this
permit
point.
expired in
Huh?
their permit expired in 1989, so it's been quite a long time since they've
Right.
been a permitted mine.
Well, I was on the board, but not before that, So, anyway, I understand that this is something you're looking at, so I'm just giving you a little history, little history, but giving you more to think about this before you let them go in there and dig the whole thing up again. We do a lot of digging around here.
8 o'clock.
Right. Of course, that's what's been going on for years, anyway. All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, supervisors report. When you're doing your Christmas shopping, please shop local in our stores, restaurants, and all the other businesses that depend on that extra income during the holidays. We have several holiday events coming up. The Arc Cheer Winter Carnival is December 2nd from 5:30 to 7:30 at Weebatuck's Elementary School. On December 3rd, we have the Silver Tea at South Amenia Church from 10 to 2. And at the Smithfield Church at 4 o'clock is their Christmas concert. On December 4th, the Amenia Fire Company Women's Auxiliary Craft Fair be from 10 to 2. And the VFW Harlem Post 5444 will hold a breakfast from 7 to 11 a.m. that morning. December 10th is our Holiday of Lights. 4 o'clock, we'll have a tree lighting and Citizen of the Year and raffle prizes at Fountain Square, a parade, and then Santa and food at Amenia Town Hall. Please come out and enjoy this wonderful event. One of the other things I wanted to talk about was snow removal. We did not put snow removal in the budget this year, mainly because of the problems we had last year, just trying to find someone to do it. The one person we could find is now living in either North or South Carolina. Besides the cost and the liability for the town, it's difficult to find anyone to even take it on anymore. Maplebrook is, through their community service class, is offering free snow shoveling for your driveways and sidewalks in the town of Amenia on Saturdays from 8:30 to 11 a.m. and 12:30 to 3:30 p.m. For more information or schedule an appointment, you can call Mrs. Salino at 845-373-9511, extension 253, or jsalino2@maplebrookschool.org. We have this information on Channel 22, and we also have it on our website. Town clerk report.
Good evening. The monthly share has been remitted to the supervisor in the amount of $91.75. The minutes from the November 17th and special meeting of November 29th have been circulated. I've received comments back from both. The last set of comments that I was unable to circulate to everybody was just a quick amendment under other matters. If you guys have your comment in front of you, the sentence will now read, he also commented on the comprehensive plan and the work that was put into the document and stated that it is a living document and should be reviewed. So we're taking out to the board. That is the intent. So I'm submitting that change verbally to those that are present. Have you guys had the opportunity to review the other set of minutes from 11/17 that was sent out 2 days after the meeting?
For the 17th and the supervisor's report, you have Attorney Everett is finalizing the contract with NDP. I believe that's
No,
Brad
it's Attorney Pinsky,
Brad Pinsky.
Brad Pinsky.
No, Penske. She might have said it, I wrote it. It's Brad. Anything else? Good. You guys ready to move on those?
We'd have to do them separately.
Correct.
So I'll make a motion to approve the November 17th minutes with the Brad Pinsky correction in the supervisor's report section. Going once.
I'll second it.
You're sent out 2 days after the meeting. Councilman Delango.
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez.
Yes.
Councilman Doyle.
Yes.
And Supervisor Prodi.
Yes.
And the November 29th minutes from the special meeting as the amendment that I just presented.
I'll make the motion that we accept the special town board meeting Tuesday, November 29th, 2016 minutes as amended.
Second.
Councilman Delango.
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Doyle.
Yes.
And Supervisor Prodi.
Yes.
Okay, also this evening I provide an update to, I think this, to the board. As I stated earlier in the meeting, the planning board members that still require education, Pete Clare, Matt Deister, Eric McEnroe, Dave Rosenberg, and John Stephanopoulos. Also for our...
Rosenberg is completed.
Is completed.
Good job, Dave.
Thank you. And now Tony, because I received his today. So he is, as I stated
Good
earlier.
job, Tony.
Also for the ZBA, let's give a good job to Jeff, David, and John Metcalf. And we're just needing 2 more credit hours for Paula Paluzzi. So just as a reminder, it's a broken record every year this time of year. It is required, it is part of the local law that was passed by the town board that 4 credit hours are needed each year. It is a minimum. If you go over those hours, any additional hours will carry over. So if you want to take 2 classes, make the following year easy. So board members need to take action on that. And to follow up on our volunteer applications, this past Tuesday, the special board meeting, the town board members met with candidates for the planning board, the ZBA, Recreation, and CAC. Tony Robustelli, Larissa Delango have expressed an interest in the planning board position. Michael Chamberlain has withdrawn his application and is now states that he's interested in the ZBA position. Jeff Barnett Wimsby has interviewed and expressed an interest to remain as ZBA chair. And within Recreation, Maria Genovese has now since then withdrawn her application, leaving Peter McCaffrey as a candidate. And CAC, Maria Genovese has expressed her interest. So those are what I have. Today, approximately 9 o'clock in the morning, 9:30, I've received a volunteer application for Marilyn Noe. Marilyn Noe is looking for reappointment on the Enhancement Committee. She is interested in the chair of the Enhancement Committee, and she would like to go back on to Fountain Square. These are both committees that she once served on, and this past year she had to leave and now is looking to come back, so that was received.
Okay, I make a motion to appoint Jeff Barnett Winsby to Zoning Board of Appeals and Chair.
I'll second that.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Okay, make a motion to appoint Michael Chamberlain to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Second.
And that'll be the unexpired term.
Right.
For an unexpired term.
Okay. Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Abstain.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Make a motion to appoint Peter McCaffrey to the Recreation Commission
A second.
for the next term, starting in January.
And it'll be a 7-year term expiring on 12/31/2023. Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Abstain.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Make a motion to appoint Maria Genovese to the Conservation Advisory Committee.
A second.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Okay, make a motion to reappoint Tony Robustelli for probably his 20th for another term on the planning board.
A second.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. I make a motion to appoint Tony Robustelli and Peter Clare as co-chairs for the planning board for effective immediately for 2016 and 2017.
I'll second that.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. And I make a motion to authorize the town clerk to advertise for the open planning board seat to I think December 15th at noon.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
Go ahead.
Sorry, do we have a candidate for the planning board? I received a recommendation. I just wanted to know.
Yes, we did.
Okay. So the intent is to advertise further? Excuse me.
Yes. I gave you the information from Dave Everett.
Right.
Okay, is that everybody?
I
We have
think
to
roll call
vote on it.
back. Councilman Delango?
What are we voting on?
Authorize the town clerk to advertise for the open planning seat due December 15th at noon. This would be the unexpired 5-year appointment.
This is to advertise, so any candidates who have already applied are still eligible for that position.
Sure. I think it would be still open.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Is that everybody?
That is everything.
Okay.
What about Marilyn Noe? Can we,
I'll make a motion that we reappoint Marilyn Noe as chairman of the Enhancement Committee and reappoint her for the
she'd like to go on Fountain Square.
Fountain Square committees.
Second.
Sorry, I was chatting.
The motion on the table is to reappoint Marilyn Noe as on enhancement and as chair of the enhancement, as well as the Fountain Square Committee. Councilman Delango.
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle.
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti.
Yes.
Okay.
And Citizen of the Year we'll bring up later. So I'd just like to reiterate all of the fun events that are going on in our community, and I look forward to seeing everybody at our Parade of Lights.
And I don't know that you included the talent variety show at 6
No,
o'clock.
I didn't. I thought you could do that better than me.
Well, in case this is all your...
Well, the
everybody's
happenings,
treated,
we have
yeah.
our VFW, I have our breakfast on Sunday, December 4th.
I did that.
Following weekend, we have our Saturday, December 10th. This is the last time you get to see the flyer. Zoom in. And then, of course, then followed on Sunday, Wassake is having their Parade of Lights.
Ah, that's what I forgot.
That's what I didn't want
But that's at 4, right? Also?
That is also at 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock
2 to
on
4,
Sunday.
Visit with Santa and have refreshments at the Wassake Firehouse. And then your parade lineup is 4 p.m. at Luther's Auction Barn.
And the parade
And
starts
then the
at...
parade starts at 5.
Parade starts at 5, and then we would like everyone to come to Wassaic and sing carols with us, and we'll give out the Citizen of the Year award, and then we also have some raffles, prizes.
You're going to have your lunch, you're going to have a meal there at the holiday lights, like you always do, or not?
Yes.
Because I told Vicki that
She'll be
on
there.
the best of my ability, I will set up.
Our historian will be there in the gym.
Okay.
And we're accepting cookies, if
Yeah.
anybody
Yes,
wants
we're
to bring
accepting cookies.
cookies or
that kind of
desserts.
quick finger food would be great for, to add to the...
To add to the festivities.
Yep.
And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, I have a building department report. Please find November's monthly report for the building department as building permits go. We have issued 9 new building permits because of the mild weather. People are still building. That's a good thing. We are for as $17,244.80. We're continuing with certificate of occupancy searches, and for this month we did 4 searches. Total $550 with 2 fire inspections at $350, bringing the total for the month to $18,144.80. And the year-to-date amount for that department is $116,377. Okay, are there any other committee reports?
I don't believe CAC will not be meeting on our third Wednesday, as it's going to be too close to the holidays.
Okay, the next thing we have is, we have 3 proposals for municipal certified public accountant. We have been with Sedor and Company for 9 years. They have just merged with another company, and we have a proposal from them. They've done a great job for us. They do our AUD in February. That's a financial record that we have to send to the Comptroller's office. I also have a proposal for Torsia, Allen, and Churchill
They are currently provide municipal accounting services for the town of Northeast. And then I received a proposal from Theodore Eaglet, who I believe does the municipal accounting for the town of, I think it's the town of Stamford. Has everybody had a chance to look through all the proposals?
I have gotten through 2 of them, not all 3. Do you have a...
Do you want to table it until next meeting?
Well, did you have a recommendation based on your review of the 3?
I would rather stay with the company we've been with for the last 9 years. They've done a really good job for us. And
I would back that up is that when we had different issues, and especially as we go into more capital project and planning and bonding, they're excellent. I was, at least my impression of them were very, very good, and especially Linda Hannigan is very sharp.
Yeah, and now they're helping, they've been through all the complexities of the old Amenia landfill, and they're in the process of having us close out all the old Amenia landfill accounts and the way they need to be done properly.
I think the best thing is let Damien read them. I want to go through them again, so let's table it to the next meeting.
You want to table it to the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay, we can do that. And I have the 2017 Northern Dutchess Paramedics Ambulance Services Contract. There'll be a couple of changes in the contract that Northern Dutchess Paramedics, Ed Murray, the president, said that, you know, he would initial. On the first page, they had this agreement made on the, well, it would be the first day of December. They had 2015. That 2015 will be 2016. And I'll read the agreement. By and between Town of Amenia Municipal Corporation with its principal place of business at 4988 New York 22, Amenia, New York 12501, and Northern Dutchess Paramedics, a for-profit corporation with its principal place of business at 3 Hook Road, Rhinebeck, New York 12572 in the County of Dutchess, existing under the laws of New York State. Witness, therefore, town desires to arrange for ambulance services for persons situated within its borders pursuant to the powers provided to it under General Municipal Law 122B, and has solicited proposals therefore, whereas the ambulance has submitted a proposal and in accordance with such proposal is willing to provide ambulance services to the town's residents and persons situated within the town's borders. Whereas in order to defray the cost of ambulance service and in order to provide the residents with the services it desires, it is necessary for the town to impose a tax for ambulance services which may be offset by user fees billed to patients. Whereas such emergency services are vital and necessary to the health and welfare of the inhabitants of the town. Now therefore, in consideration of the mutual covenants and conditions herein contained, the parties hereto mutually agree as follows. 1. Provision of emergency medical services and further assurances. A. Ambulance shall provide town with 1 advanced life support emergency medical ambulance service which complies with the regulations of the New York State Department of Health, Bureau of Emergency Medical Services, and the Hudson Valley REMSCO, to serve the emergency medical needs of those persons within the boundaries of the town. Services to be provided include basic life support, transport, and treatment, providing advanced life support treatment. Such services will be provided by paramedics level 4. Such paramedics and ambulance shall be licensed to provide services in both New York and Connecticut. B, the advanced life supports service staffed ambulance will be physically present in the town of Amenia 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. A backup ambulance shall be provided for no additional expense to the town with another equally staffed unit when available. C, this ambulance shall not be utilized to serve territories outside the town unless otherwise dictated by established mutual aid agreements by the Amenia and Wassaic Fire Departments and dispatched by Dutchess County Department of Emergency Response, DC 911. NDP's primary ambulance shall arrive at all priority. Now, this is the second change. Currently in the agreement has priority 1, 2, and 3. We're going to add priority 4. So that will be priority 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that will be also initialed by Northern Dutchess paramedics. As per, I got a call from someone in the Amenia Fire Department today who told me that that's what I needed to add. As defined as DC 911 protocol in 15 minutes or less, except times when circumstances beyond NDP's control, such as severe weather, prevent such a response. In such instances, NDP will respond as quickly as reasonably possible. The ambulance shall and agree to, 1, maintain an average en route time of no more than 2 minutes and an average arrival on scene time of no more than 8 minutes from dispatched. 2, transport all patients to the closest appropriate facility. 3, work cooperatively with area fire departments and ambulance services. 4, participate in the local 911 dispatch system. 5, defend, hold harmless, and indemnify the town of Amenia, its employees and agents for all acts and omissions of the ambulance and its employees and agents. 6, provide insurance, naming the town of Amenia as additional insurance, and amounts no less than $3 million per occurrence and $5 million the aggregate, with at least $1 million of vehicle fleet liability, and to arrange for a copy of such insurance to be provided to the town prior to the commencement of this agreement, and to ensure that the town is notified of any changes, lapses, or cancellations thereto. 7, cooperate with the town in answering questions from patients about its bills and charges. 8, comply with HIPAA. 9, cooperate in audits related to its en route and response times, replacement of ambulances, and all other minimum requirements of this proposal. 10, not discriminate against persons in a manner which would violate state or federal laws. Ambulance shall comply with all wage and hour laws and the provision of workers' compensation. 2, term. The term of this agreement shall be for 1 year, commencing on the first day of January 2017, and shall continue through the 31st day of December of such year, unless sooner terminated as herein provided. 3, A, compensation. A, town agrees to pay ambulance the amount of $650,000 for the provision of ambulance services hereafter contract fee. However, the total fee will not be collected from taxes. The town shall raise no more than $310,000 from taxes payable in equal monthly installments as services are provided. The remaining sum of $340,000 shall be paid from billing revenue only. Should the amount of billing revenue collected during the contract year exceed $340,000, the excess billing revenue shall be remitted to the town. The town is hereby relieved from the obligation to pay more than the amount of the $310,000 from the tax roll, and is relieved from any shortfall from billing revenue, such that the maximum paid from the town taxes shall be $310,000. Town has established a schedule of user fees to be imposed upon persons served by the ambulance. Ambulance shall collect the funds. Ambulance shall provide town with a monthly accounting of the funds received from persons served in the boundaries of the contracted each month, no less than on a monthly basis. The total of the funds collected during the contract year shall offset the amount due from the town under this agreement. C, any funds collected in the next contract year shall be applied to that year's contract funds. Should the parties terminate the agreement, any billing revenues collected by the ambulance in the year following termination shall be paid to the town. D, the town shall have the right to renew this agreement upon the same terms and conditions as provided for in this agreement, except with regard to the price as follows. 2018, total fee $700,000, amount from town taxes $322,000, amount from billing $378,000. 2019, Total fees, $750,000. Amount from town taxes, $335,000. Amount from billing, $415,000. The town may exercise its option by notifying NDP in writing by certified mail, return receipt requested, but regardless of acceptance of delivery, no less than 60 days prior to the expiration of this agreement of its option to renew. 4, insurance. Ambulance agrees to maintain liability insurance sufficient to insure itself against claims for unintentional torts resulting in personal injuries in the amount of $3 million. Ambulance agrees to maintain automobile insurance for injuries arising out of the operation of emergency vehicles for at least $1 million. Ambulance shall have the town name as additional insured in the insurance policy and present the town with a certificate of insurance and make arrangements for automatic notification of the town in the case the insurance policy lapses or is canceled. 5, no employment. Ambulance employees shall not be deemed employees of the town. Nothing herein creates an employment relationship which subjects the ambulance or its employees, volunteers to the supervision and control of the town, or is intended to create any municipal liability for such supervision on behalf of the town. 6, confidentiality. Nothing herein shall entitle the town to the name, address, or social security number of any patient served. Town will not require ambulance to release any patient's medical information. 7, continuation of services. If ambulance services continue to be provided by the request of the town beyond the expiration of the term hereof, the terms of this agreement shall continue on a monthly basis unless and until the parties enter into a subsequent written agreement. 8, expiration or termination of responsibilities. Upon expiration or termination of the agreement as provided hereunder, the ambulance shall have no liability or responsibility for providing services under this agreement to any person within the town's boundaries. In the event either party desires to cancel this agreement or cease providing or receiving ambulance services, the terminating party must provide written notice thereof to the other party at least 90 days prior to the expiration of any term of the agreement. 9, grounds for termination. This agreement shall terminate prior to the expiration of the term hereof upon the happening of any of the following events. A, upon the town's failure to deliver the monies due ambulance under this agreement by the due date, so long as the ambulance provides 30 days, written notice to the town of the day it will stop providing services. B, upon the loss or suspension of ambulance ability to deliver emergency medical services due to the loss of a certificate of need or the loss of operating permits or licenses. In such instance, ambulance shall reimburse the town for the prorated balance of the fee paid for the then term. C, upon 90 days notice from the town to ambulance to discontinue services with or without cause. 10, representations. Ambulance represents that in the last 10 years, it has not been convicted of or pled guilty to any civil or criminal sanctions or administrative penalties, that there are no such charges pending as a result of any government action related to the ambulance service provided, including but not limited to, from or related to any billing of patients or third-party payers or governmental insurance programs. 11, notices. All notices, requests, demands, and other communications required or permitted to be given hereunder shall be in writing and shall be deemed duly given if delivered by hand or mailed by registered or certified mail, return receipt requested to the parties at their respective addresses here and above stated, or to such addresses as may be designated by written notice complying as to delivery with the terms of this section. 12, savings clause. If any provision of this agreement is determined to be legally invalid, inoperative, or unenforceable, only that particular provision shall be affected. Such determination shall have no effect whatsoever on any other provision of this agreement, and all other provisions shall remain in full force and effect. 13, waiver. No delay or failure to exercise any remedy or right occurring upon any default shall be construed as a waiver of such remedy or right or an acquiescence in such default, or shall it affect any subsequent default of the same or different nature. All rights and remedies herein conferred shall be in addition to and not exclusive of any and all rights or remedies now or hereafter existing at law or in equity. 14 headings. All headings and captions in this agreement are for convenience only. They shall not be deemed part of this agreement and shall in no way define, limit, extend, or describe the scope or intent of any provisions hereof. 15 further assurances. The party shall execute and deliver all documents, provide all information, take or forbear from all action as may be necessary or appropriate to achieve the purposes set forth in this agreement. But in this agreement, 16, binding effect. This agreement shall be binding upon and shall inure to the benefit of the parties hereto and their respective heirs, executor, administrator, successors, and assigns. 17, counterparts. This agreement may be executed in counterparts, and each such counterpart, when taken together, shall constitute a single and binding agreement. 18, governing law. This agreement shall be governed by and construed in accordance with the laws of the state of New York. The county of Dutchess in the state of New York is hereby designated as a place of trial for any action or proceeding arising from or in any way connected to this agreement. 19, no assignment. This agreement shall not be assigned to any party without the prior written consent of the other party. 20, gender neutral. Whenever used herein and required by the context, the singular number shall include the plural shall include the singular number, and use of either gender shall include both genders, and the words hereof and herein and hereafter shall refer to the entire agreement and not to any provision or section. 21, entire agreement. This agreement is the entire agreement among the parties and shall not be changed except by a writing signed by the party to be charged. Further, this agreement shall supersede all prior agreements between the parties. In witness hereof, the parties hereto have set their respective hands and seals a day. So I need a motion authorizing me to sign the contract with Northern Dutchess Paramedics.
And make that motion.
Seconded.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. We were going to do payment approval for Route 44 sidewalk project, but we don't have all the paperwork back from that yet, so we'll have to defer that to the December 15th meeting. Under discussion, we need to set a reorganization date. If I was thinking January 3rd for a reorganization.
That's Tuesday?
That's a Tuesday.
That's fine with me.
Does that work for everybody?
Yes.
7 p.m.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Okay. So the reorganization date will be January 3rd, 2017, 7 o'clock here. Are there any other matters? Public comment? Town board comments?
Really looking forward to the talent variety show. We got a donation of a baby grand piano that's courtesy of some residents who got the thing moved here and I believe tuned today. Did that happen? Do you know?
Yes, and we can't move it or something.
No, I'm good, thank you.
Or something, yeah. But it's
It
here.
can't be moved, okay. And Dee Dee Barrett is our assemblywoman. She is going to be here to help welcome everybody to the talent show. And I just think it will be a great opportunity for everybody to come out for the tree lighting and thank all the groups that are, first of all, helped with all of the decorating. It was a big job in both Amenia and Wassaic. And just looking forward to Santa, and the whole parade is a big deal. If you're going to be in the parade, you have to be at the lineup at 4 o'clock at the Mechanic Street.
Yep, Amenia Firehouse, 4
Firehouse.
o'clock, line up.
Yep. Great. Everything's free, by the way. Photos with Santa, gifts with Santa, food, refreshments, talent
Raffles.
show,
Raffles.
historian's table,
Entertainment.
and lots of crafts and fun things to do. Thank you.
Okay, any other town board comments? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session.
I second that.
Do you want to state the reasoning why? It's on the piece of paper, but they don't know that at home.
Discussions,
legal.
says discussions related to proposed pending or current litigation.
Okay, 8:40
We need to,
PM. Can I have you sign these 2 items?